We've finally made it. The project that started in the Spencer Mansion months ago culminates here. Resident Evil 7 is my favorite of the bunch as it returns to the horror roots the series was in severe lack of. With variation in its challenges, cool rewards earned through gameplay, and a variety of really interesting DLC, this game is a dream to 100%. Don't let the praise trick you though, there will still be parts of this that are not enjoyable to complete. I'll highlight those moments when they come, but I'm willing to give this game a lot of leniency for trying to reinvent itself. Some notes before we start: this game continues Capcom's trend of selling advantages in-game for real-world money. I will never be utilizing these methods, as I'm able to complete almost every challenge in here with only moderate frustration. I prefer to play almost every game as vanilla as I can to make your experience as easy to follow as possible. It also helps to uphold the integrity of the challenge, which in this game, knowing whether or not I'm using these advantages is pretty easy, as they come in the form of coins that you have to have in your inventory, so as long as you don't see them, we should be good. Another important thing to mention is that unlike with 4, 5, and 6, this isn't my first time playing this one. I've 100%ed it a long time ago on my own, so I played through the entire thing on a separate Steam account so that I wouldn't receive any bonuses from my initial run. As proof, here's the game reading no save data and me selecting my settings upon the first startup. As always, we will be doing multiple playthroughs, with the first playthrough being focused primarily on the collectibles, which in this game is Mr. Everywhere bobbleheads, files, and antique coins. There are also various miscellaneous achievements, but I'll point those out when we get to them. Without further ado, let's begin our journey into Dulvey, Louisiana. The game starts with Mia, the wife of the main character, Ethan, recording 2 different messages showing the before and after of taking a nap at 2 p.m.
Stay away.
Despite just being told to stay away, we drive to Louisiana in 360p, talking to a guy on the phone who was never mentioned again. We reality shift into a world where trees aren't JPEGs, finding some dead animals and a purse with our missing wife's ID. A sane person would wonder why we haven't called the cops yet, but I'm feeling pretty loco right about now, so let's keep going. Find a fresh pot of the stuff they use to make McDonald's chicken nuggets, and head upstairs to find a VHS tape titled Derelict House Footage. We have to play through every VHS tape as part of an achievement, but this one is special in that we are going to directly alter the space-time continuum. Now as Clancy, grab the lockpick from outside, picking the drawer in the kitchen, which has a random picture inside. We'll come back to this in a second. Andre's pulled a Houdini, so continue to follow this guy, opening up a secret passage in the wall and climbing down into the depths. Then watch Andre do his best Ronald McDonald cosplay. Channel your inner Matthew McConaughey, reaching through the fabric of reality to open this drawer that was previously locked, grabbing our first antique coin inside. Follow in the footsteps of your predecessors, only Ethan has some extra mass over Clancy. We find Mia chained up inside this basement, but if you know anything about what happens later, you'd know that none of the family actually lives here, so I'm not sure why she's down here. I'm assuming it's just to be bait. We find a list of prior occupants, as well as some bolt cutters which we use to set her loose. Ethan must have driven here directly from the Shaolin Temple, because despite finding his missing wife of 3 years locked inside the basement of a rotting building, he's incredibly chill about everything going on.
Are you gonna tell me what's going on? Baby, you've been gone 3 years.
We endure a set speed walking section, picking up this picture and...
We're gonna be a family now that you're here.
I'm gonna ignore that. Mia is immediately kidnapped out of sight despite us being only 3 seconds behind her, and we enter PT, grabbing some first aid meds in the bathroom nearby, then hearing some knocking and returning to the basement we just came from. Mia's decided to get a little silly and tries to turn us into a charcuterie board. She gets put in for 1 NFL drive, but Andy Reid isn't done with her yet. Deposit this conveniently placed axe directly into her jugular, murdering the wife we came all the way here to save, to which Ethan has this reaction. Continue the PT parallels and answer the phone, talking to Southern Belle Zoe, who tells us to book it for the attic.
Go there. Now.
We head that way, only to see Mia's gone, so at least we're off the hook for murder, and we grab a fuse nearby and plug it in, at which point Mia reappears and tells us to screw ourselves. Be glad that you're a righty, and walk around just kinda staring at your stump until you make it to the attic, grabbing the pistol nearby and heading up the ladder, only Mia somehow got onto the roof in the last 30 seconds, so we introduce her frontal lobe to some 9mm. Once she's down, put our back to a corner where no one could possibly get us.
Welcome to the family, son.
Get Draco Malfoyed, waking up to see Zoe staple your hand back on, then join in on the family dinner. Lucas gets his arm chopped off, joining the club, and we get force-fed either brains or intestines, but it's somewhat hard to tell in this lighting. They leave the big piece of skin from Doctor Who next to us, and we Arkham City ourselves into the true start of this game. Now that we're out of the opening set piece, I can pick up the pace a little. Our current goal is to get the key to this hatch, so check the surrounding area, only someone's here with us. He's right next to the key, so we hide until we lose him, then grab it and come back, getting clonked but luckily shutting the doors behind us. He's not getting through that one.
Boy!
If you weren't already questioning how our hand is back on and functional, then I have some news for you.
What the fuck?
Now technically that didn't have to happen, as if you're fast enough you can avoid that cutscene, but Jack seemingly has Wesker's teleportation, so not much we could have done there. Now in the crawl space, we grab another antique coin and reach the first safe room, where apparently even your internal monologue can have exclamation points. Just in case someone out there is confused, antique coins are different than the ones I said you can buy in the shop, as they just serve as collectibles which allow you to unlock things later. We craft a first aid med, then try to leave, only to get called again by Zoe, who tells us the main hall is the place to be.
Oh, and that thing on your wrist is a codex. Don't lose it. It's important.
As the game progresses, Zoe will remark that she's surprised you made it this far, and knowing what the codex does, I'm flabbergasted Zoe threw it on you. You'd think she would have left it in her trailer at least to prove that you know what's going on, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Jack's away at the moment, but we don't have a weapon yet, a problem which is soon rectified by talking to the least helpful cop of all time.
Look, officer, deputy.
Officer Deputy gives us his pocket knife, which allows Ethan to answer his own question.
What am I gonna do with a knife?
We smash not one, but two Mr. Everywheres, then head into the garage for our midnight rendezvous with our new best friend. Deputy Officer asks his barber for a little too much off the top, and we swap to GTA for 30 seconds, before Jack sends us headfirst into some random structural iron beams he has in his garage for some reason. As will become a recurring theme, Jack's not dead, but the car blowing him up puts him down for good. Except it doesn't, and he shoots himself in the head, which puts him down for good. Hopefully. Now armed with a slightly used pistol, we disobey a direct order, getting another call from Zoe who tells us pretty much nothing helpful.
There's something I need you to do, but I can't explain it right now.
Activate the intelligence of a toddler that's significantly behind his peers, seeing the words living room on the back of the pendulum. Do what it says on the box, getting a dog's head as a reward. I once again ask you the same question that I asked back in the Spencer Mansion. Who is rigging up their own house to look like this? We find a leather couch on the second floor, watching Marguerite stroll outside, meaning she somehow got out there despite the dog relief door being the main way out. There are other ways, but they're all as convoluted as this one, so how is she doing it? We find another dog head and a VHS tape titled Mia, which we immediately throw in and start to play. Mia's filming a lifestyle vlog, and we take control with about as much in the way of self-defense as Sherry had in RE2. There's an achievement here for getting through this entire tape without being seen, so hide right behind this gigantic hole in the wall. Play Who's That Pokemon for real this time, creeping around and entering another crawl space, the lights slowly going out until...
Where do you think you're going?
Since that last part was scripted, we earn the achievement, slotting in our new dog head and heading upstairs to the bathroom, where we put the uh-oh back in SpaghettiOs.
Heck of a thing, ain't it? Sure shit beats the hell out of dying.
I use an MLG Pro Strat, falling down the broken staircase, avoiding the chase entirely. That's the kind of professional level gameplay you get here on my channel. Jack must have shot out the part of his brain that understands what the safe room is, a fact we abuse to great effect. Solve another shadow puzzle, grabbing some psychostimulants and bonking another Mr. E. Open the box of unlimited maggots, and prepare to meet the default guy of this entire game. These guys are called Molded, and they have roughly 3 attacks and are dog shit at about everything else. I'll be using my knife on these guys almost exclusively because you can dodge just about everything they throw at you. A fair criticism of this game is the lack of enemy variety, but learning how to knife these guys takes some skill and it saves you ammo, so I don't mind as much. A note in the safe room tells us the rec room has a shotgun in it, and I immediately eat my words about these guys being free money. My stubbornness proves to be unmatched, as I spend the next 45 minutes running the basement section until I can do it with the knife only. There's not even an achievement for this, I'm doing this shit for the love of the game. I grab the key to a future room from this kind gentleman, who hasn't yet figured out how to open doors. I pick the area clean, including a photo that leads to a secret stash of goodies that doesn't spawn until you pick it up. Grab the scorpion key here and watch the fruits of my labor pay off in full. Just like riding a bike. The scorpion key gets us access to the shotgun in the rec room, so he's right on our cheeks, so duck inside and sweep the place, grabbing the broken shotgun and heading out.
Hello there. How you been?
If you keep the broken one, you can repair it later, or you can swap it out for a slightly less good shotgun right now. At the time, I only knew where the repair kit was on Madhouse, so I just went for shotgun now. With this house picked clean, head downstairs delivering steel justice to the masses, and head into our next big rumble. I craft some enhanced handgun ammo and get kicked down into the fray. Once we damage Jack enough, he grabs a set of chainsaw scissors, which we have to duck under at least once for an achievement. Turn him into Two-Face, popping his big pimple and destroying the chainsaw to escape, since it's too dangerous to be left alive. We find this dehydrated cranberry humming to herself, only she stops when we get close. With the final dog head in, we've officially escaped the house, and just like that, we've beaten the game. Imagine. We head into Zoe's trailer, except she's not here of course, and we head out, getting a call that we need a serum to get Mia out, the ingredients of which are locked in Marguerite's house. They have like 5 different houses. Once we exorcise all the mold and finish off the unkillable family, I'd be putting down an offer on this place. We use all the coins we've earned up till now to legitimately hop on gear, and head out to face Marguerite. We walk over to the old house, getting the POV of an apiarist who doesn't want the smoke. Grab half a flamethrower, increase our inventory size, and smash another Mr. Everywhere. Then use Andrew Garfield's greatest weakness against him. Head outside and craft a max strength first aid, then grab the other half of the burner and put it to work. Take a wooden sculpture and see Mia again, who gets immediately kidnapped. Marguerite makes her grand entrance.
Stay the fuck out!
So give her everything we've got, causing her to flee and earning us an achievement. Solve another shadow puzzle, to which I would love to know the actual locking mechanism behind this, and we head down into the crawl space, grabbing the setup for the next joke. We this bridge up, then make up for RE6's lack of cranking by doing it again. Make some burner fuel, grabbing the crow key and heading back to open up the—
I told you to stay out of here!
Much like Jack, Marguerite must also be on some Wesker type shit, because she legitimately teleported just to do this. Shoot her with the sliquifier, climbing up and going in to open up the gross baby briefcase. The lid tells us we need a head and an arm, and luckily both of those things can be found on this property for some reason. On the way back out, we see that Marguerite's chances of reaching the NBA have increased dramatically, so head down to start contract negotiations. Gear up and drop in, popping a perky just to start up, and by that I mean taking psychostimulants, which show you the location of nearby items. Our feeties almost get tickled, a crime punishable in the 3rd degree. Swap between shooting her in the head and the junk to confuse her central nervous system, and we take her down lickety-split. Unfortunately, that's not where our battle ends, as we failed to get a missable achievement, meaning we have to go back in to get it now. We have to shoot her down at the moment she jumps at us to avoid taking damage, a process which is much easier said than done. However, nothing is impossible if you believe in yourself. And have 15 shells of buckshot. With Marguerite's lantern slotted in, head through the remains of the last McDonald's play place, receiving the same warning every Golden Corral within a 250-mile radius gave me.
Stay away.
grab an arm from whatever this thing is, and play Ring Around the 4 poster, dodging every possible baddie on the way out. Then answer Zoe's call, who tells us to head back to her trailer, except in the 45 seconds it takes us to get there, Lucas was able to kidnap her.
Hey, buddy!
He's left us a parting gift, so head back down to the basement, stopping to say hi to Baby Prunes, a character I didn't realize had an actual name. Sense a disturbance in the Force? Then use Force on the disturbance. Have an incredibly understated reaction to reaching your hand inside a man via his neck.
No.
Obtaining the snake key and leaving the basement for good this time. We can use the crow key we got earlier to open this door, grabbing the grenade launcher and searching the fireplace to find another dose of HGH tucked away. This molded is doing his best reverse Michael Jackson, and we head into Lucas's old room to find a secret ladder up to the attic. Before triggering anything, reverse it, going back and opening the other snake door, this one containing the combined lint of everyone's pocket. Upgrade our storage again, then climb into the attic, grabbing a VHS tape and blasting another Mr. Everywhere, and finding a bunch of wooden toys. We solve the shadow puzzle to get the blue keycard, then solve a clock puzzle to open the way to a new area. Before descending into the 400th new section of this house, swap out the wooden shotgun for the real one just to have the full collection, and use the wooden axe to solve a puzzle outside to get a stabilizer, which increases reload speed. Play the VHS tape we got, showing Clancy the cameraman from the beginning. Solve an elaborate series of puzzles all within 5 minutes for an achievement, ultimately culminating in Clancy getting roasted. Finish up any loose threads in the main house, then head down the path we opened earlier to grab the red keycard, booking it back up and out, plugging it in, and entering the Lucas dimension. Watch his vlog, then channel our inner Ada Wong to sneak through a bunch of wire traps. Now, as you'll see later in the DLC, crates that have bombs in them usually tick, which you can only hear if you get right up on them. I use this knowledge to check each crate since Lucas is a trickster, and certify that all these are good. There was no way that I know of to check whether or not this crate was bad other than just triggering it, which is slightly lame. Enter in the code of uselessness, triggering a trap that would only be effective on a very large snail. No matter what numbers you enter there, it's considered wrong, meaning even on a separate playthrough you can't bypass it, which is lame again. Don't learn your lesson, using the environment to your advantage and gearing up to take on a big boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the bar!
Give him an Extreme Makeover Home Edition, obtaining the code and heading into the same scenario we just saw Clancy do. Well, isn't that convenient? We drop all our stuff off and head in, skipping 90% of the puzzles that Clancy had to solve because we're using our noggin, causing Lucas to drop a comically large bundle of dynamite Wile E. Coyote style. We see his chair is still spinning, but he's nowhere to be seen, meaning we missed him by mere seconds. We get the final ingredient, gearing back up and hitting the final of the run, freeing Mia and Zoe, who creates 2 doses of serum, but doesn't immediately inject herself for some reason. Jack's gotten even uglier, so obliterate the plethora of eyeballs coating him, defeating him for good. Except not really, and Zoe tells us, so we do as she says, and we defeat Jack for good. We're now presented with a 1-2 punch to my opinion of this game. Because Zoe told us to use the serum earlier, we only have 1 dose left, which she seems confused by despite it being her call.
What the hell are we gonna do now?
And we now have to choose between someone who's been actively helping us escape since the beginning, or our wife who's been trying to kill us the whole time. I choose to reward good behavior, which leads to Zoe dying about 30 seconds later, rendering this choice completely pointless. We wake up as Mia, at least a mile away from where we just were, watching Ethan get kidnapped by Venom. This entire section is absolute dog water, so I'm going to get through it as fast as possible. The beginning is almost entirely irrelevant as you're just exploring the ship watching visions of what happened, all leading up to meeting Evelyn on the top floor, who makes you watch the final VHS tape. This one is unskippable despite every other tape being voluntary, meaning in every future playthrough we have to do this part, which adds to the suck factor. The basic gist is Mia is actually a rebel or terrorist or something, and her job was to transport Evelyn from one place to another. Evelyn forms a bond with Mia and wants her to be her mom, to which Mia agrees just to try to rein her in. Now with a guarantee of a family, Evelyn crashes the boat and causes everyone on board to turn into a mold monster or instantly die, and they crash land in Louisiana, causing the entire events of the game to unfold. With our memories restored, we're actually allowed to shoot stuff again, but that still doesn't absolve this section. Our goal is to collect 2 different parts to restore the elevator, taking care of any collectibles along the way. The only achievement we get here is strapping a bomb to a molded, giving him the red, white, and boom. Now that I've saved you over an hour of watching me wander around this ship, grab the final antique coin and rescue Ethan, where we get, in my opinion, one of the most interesting cutscenes in Resident Evil history.
Ethan? Hey, shh. I know. I'm not gonna hurt you. Hell, I never would have if I could have helped you.
What do you mean?
I'm no killer, son. Neither is Marguerite, nor my boy Lucas. Ethan. Free my family. Please.
This scene, which takes place within the hive mind of the mold, completely recontextualizes the bad guys, causing me to view the entire situation with way more sympathy. After 6 games of cartoonishly evil villains, most of which were Wesker, this is a breath of fresh air. Fight off infected Mia for the last time, killing your wife and escaping the ship. Evelyn needs to work on her handwriting because
what the fuck is this piece of shit?
We see the helicopter of partial rendering, listening to some radio chatter from someone whose voice I guarantee you don't recognize.
We've had reports in the abandoned mine south of the property. I'm gonna go have a look.
Grab the Magnum with the rest of our coins, gearing up for the final push, and crafting any of the recipes we haven't hit yet. Then hop aboard an elevator and descend into the mines. Use our brain where we can, listening to the ambient soundtrack of the mines, which is actually pretty spooky. The secret lab section of RE7 is way smaller than usual, housing one of the boxes that needs the codex to open, the thing that we got back all the way at the beginning. Read all the files in here, then create the serum to kill Evelyn, to which I will once again point out that the only way to kill the bad guy was just strapped to random guy number 57 who just so happened to be goated with the sauce. Do a combat gauntlet, and by combat gauntlet I mean run like a little baby as fast as you can, emerging back into a familiar area. Break the final Mr. Everywhere, finding the picture from earlier, revealing the ultimate secret. The bad guy this entire time was that garbage bag full of sawdust that's been following us around. Make her take her medicine, causing her to become the goo she was always meant to be, except she takes a page out of the Birkin playbook and becomes a really big face on the wall. It wouldn't be Resident Evil without a really big monster at the end, would it? For some reason, they named a gun after Wesker, which we used to finish Evelyn off for good. Maybe. A mysterious figure comes to our rescue.
I'm Redfield.
Huh? With everyone we love dead, watch a 360p cutscene and RE7 is officially wrapped up. For collecting everything, we get a bunch of goodies for future runs and can now decide whether we want to go for broke and hop into the hardest difficulty run, or go for the challenge run where we combine all the challenge achievements into a single playthrough. I go for option 2, meaning we now have to complete the game using only 3 healing items, only opening the item box 3 times, and beat the entire thing in under 4 hours. If you've been following this series, you'd know these are pretty tried and true challenges at this point, and honestly, the healing one is somewhat lenient compared to the other games. The tricky one is going to be the item box, because while 3 times sounds nice, you have to open it once to deposit your items before Lucas, then get them back afterwards, and then get them back once again after Mia's section. So in reality, the challenge is don't open the item box unless you have to. We play on easy, because why would I make things harder on myself? And watch through the entire opening because it's unskippable, which gets a big boo from me. The main challenge is going to come from knowing which items to pick up and when, and removing any non-ammo objects as fast as you can. The run's actually pretty short, and while I could just breeze through it, I thought I'd make up for how short RE6 was, and take you through a run explaining how I played, knowing that I had limited inventory and what decisions I made where. If you don't care about watching a run with my color commentary, but the video has chapters, so you feel free to skip ahead to the Madhouse playthrough and watch me get my ass kicked. Since we already know where the pull chain is, we don't even have to watch the first VHS tape, and the opening of the game plays out mostly the same, except we don't heal at all while fighting Mia, since we get set to full health upon waking up at the baker's. Intimidate Jack with our incredible dance moves, to which he responds by busting it down. Use the doorways to trick him into losing us, grabbing the key and getting through the hatch without losing our leg this time. Losing our leg would force us to use a heal to reattach it, and avoiding being forced to do anything is the key. Continue running through, only stopping to pick up handgun ammo, and taking note that I have 10 bullets in my handgun before Jack shoots himself, and have 10 bullets after, so I guess he shot himself with a magic bullet.
The personal, versatile, countertop magician.
Use the pendulum to activate the dog head, and grab a chem fluid and gunpowder to make handgun ammo. Then grab the dog head and slot it in. Grab the second dog head and another gunpowder, then use a second chem fluid to make more handgun ammo, and grab the shadow puzzle piece. This causes Jack to spawn, but I get back to the living room so fast he comes through the second floor instead of the first. I lure him all the way back to the living room, abusing his AI, and making more handgun ammo in the den. We don't have a limit on saves, which is honestly kinda surprising, so I save and don't try to punk all these guys with a knife this time. I find a strong chem fluid, which lets me make enhanced handgun ammo, which I'll need for Chainsaw Jack. I'll be finding gunpowder a lot more sparsely than chem fluid, so I'll only ever grab a chem fluid if I have a gunpowder already. But I do take the treasure photo, as you can immediately discard it with no consequences. The treasure will still be there. I grab the scorpion key and shotgun shells from downstairs, then head back up, only killing the enemies that are directly in my way. Jack starts stalking around upstairs about now, so I pause to see if I can hear where he is, then sneak past him while he's distracted and get the broken shotgun. I get more shells from this lockbox, swapping the shotgun since at this point I still don't know where the repair kit is. I do learn where it is in a DLC later, but at this point it's too late to matter. Most molded on easy take around 3 to 5 shots to kill, so this guy taking like 7 shots throws me off so bad that a second molded sneaks up behind me, completely thwarting my plans to sneak through here. I jump in to fight Jack, the enhanced handgun ammo making phase 1 free money, but I take enough damage in phase 2 that I reload the checkpoint, which goes a little better, but I still do take some damage. I have the blood effect turned as low as it'll go to avoid being annoying, so just know that's the minimum setting. Try to take out Evelyn early, slotting in the final dog head and reaching Zoe's trailer, throwing the coin here in for S's and G's, then going to speedrun the old house. This plays out mostly the same, except I grab any easy antique coins while I'm here. I originally trigger her cutscene on the door next to the fireplace, but since we have to go through that one to progress, I reload and trigger her on the other side, allowing me to get through easier. The burner's unnecessary here as it takes up a lot of space, and I make a really rookie mistake by not going to the save point and picking up the backpack, since I was so focused on the speedrun. That means I'm doing this challenge with even fewer slots than the game thinks I should. On the way back through after getting the crank, I pop this door open but hear the lantern squeaking, so I wait for her to pass before going through, where I think this hive is dormant because no bugs ever attack me here. Continue like normal, using our limited enhanced handgun ammo here, since the longer we're down here, the more bugs she spawns, and we want to be out fast. I waste no time following Marguerite, but I do use the coins I collected to grab a steroid from the bird cages, since this part is real hit or miss. If you slowly creep up the stairs and head back, you can avoid the grab, and she again gets the better of me without me realizing where she is. Anytime you hear her scream like this, she's birthing a beehive somewhere, which, gross, but it also means she's open to attack. I successfully managed to prevent another surprise attack and take her down, grabbing shotgun shells and a strong chem fluid before leaving. My inventory is chock full now, which is troublesome, as it means I can't craft anything with that strong chem fluid I just got, and I find a gunpowder for it right after. I use the lantern to remove it from my inventory, and instead of immediately turning around to grab that gunpowder, I run through and grab the D-arm because I'm stupid. We definitely don't have space to grab the snake key, so I have to make a choice about what gets tossed. I decided to use the steroids to free up a slot, but I wasn't sure if they counted as a heal or not. The forums say no, but my heart says yes, so let's say 1 out of 3 just to be safe. Grab the snake key and open up the bedroom to get access to what should have been the second inventory upgrade. Then run through, grabbing only the essentials here, which includes another strong chem fluid and the blue keycard. Dump the keycard and craft ammo, returning to the Marguerite fight to grab anything we missed with a full inventory, and return to the den to grab everything we left behind before heading below the bed and grabbing the red keycard. I'm packing my inventory semi-full since I know the Lucas part's coming up and I'll be able to dump it all anyway. His area plays out almost exactly the same way, except I don't trigger the bombs since I know where they are. I use the code from the first run just for funsies, and I make another set of enhanced ammo, which I'll need for the big guy. He takes almost half of our entire stockpile, and we get the code, which is different than last time since I entered the right one. We burn the first item box opening to deposit everything, clearing the room exactly the same way, reaching the second item box opening where I have to decide my loadout for the Jack fight. I decide to bust out the Albert pistol, since I think it's the strongest handgun, all my steroids, handgun ammo, and shotgun ammo. Use all the firepower we've accumulated so far to absolutely rinse Jack this go around. We also don't have to worry about damage, as we automatically heal when we wake up as Mia. Save our wife this time to get the other ending, which also counts as the good one. Shocker. The boat section isn't really affected by the challenge, as Mia doesn't have a ton of stuff to grab anyway, so navigating it's not that hard, and it's still boring. I think even if you picked up every single item that isn't a heal, you wouldn't max out Mia's inventory anyway. When we come to as Ethan, since we saved Mia, we don't have to fight her this time, and we make the final decision on what to bring into the endgame. We do get the backpack we missed earlier showing up here, allowing us a little more leeway in the finale. I go with the Albert, all handgun ammo, shotgun, all shotgun ammo, steroids, and 2 bombs left over from Mia's part. Continue using the environment wherever possible, even though we don't really need to conserve ammo at this point, and use our bomb stockpile to kill the last real obstacle to the finish line. Cure Evelyn of life, setting your pistol to automatic and absolutely mag dumping for 2 minutes straight. For finishing the run in just under 3 hours, with technically no heals but really 1, and only 3 item box openings, we unlock the circular saw and X-ray glasses, both of which make Madhouse as close to cake as you can get, while still getting your shit rocked. Next up to bat is Madhouse, which will be our final run of the main game. Madhouse has a couple things we'll have to manage, the main one being save items are back. Instead of ink ribbons this go around, it's all about cassette tapes, and we can't save unless we have some in our inventory. The other thing, and this one sucks, is that they decided to throw in a second round of collectibles, meaning we have to collect more coins this time. They're also in different spots, and there's twice as many than there were on normal. Luckily, they can be seen with X-ray glasses, so finding them won't be that bad. One of the worst parts about Madhouse is the start, since we don't have access to an item box yet. Once we do, we'll be able to pull out all our goodies, but until then, we're on our own.
I can feel her clawing her way back inside of me.
Much like Mia, I too feel something clawing its way out of me. It's a montage.
Okay, fine. Welcome to the family, son.
Due to the increase in antique coins, there are 3 new bird cages with special items, one of which being the scorpion key. This bypasses having to get the shadow puzzle piece from the upstairs bathroom, allowing us to head down to the basement early. The other 2 are coins that increase our damage and defense, which are very similar to the ones you can pay for, but these ones are free 99. You also saw the things I pulled out of the item box, and the only ones I haven't explained to you are the 2 Secrets of Defense scrolls and the walking shoes. The defense scrolls make it so that if you block, you take way less damage, which is pretty much a necessity on Madhouse, and the walking shoes are borderline garbage that increase your walking speed but not your running speed. They're semi-useful when evading Jack and wanting to sneak around, but we also have a giant unlimited saw, so I think he should be more scared of me. Madhouse likes to change things up, like having a crawler in the hallway to the basement, but removing the other enemies down here. They put a locked chest where the scorpion key used to be, and drop a crawler in behind you. The guy in the morgue isn't here, which makes you feel safe, and then the second you leave, they spawn 2 more guys. There's also not enough lockpicks this time to open every single chest, meaning we basically have to blind pick what we want. Because we're holding so much stuff now, and can see where literally every item is at all times, a solid chunk of my playtime is just shuttling items back and forth from the item box. That chest in the basement? Enhanced handgun ammo. Just in case you were curious. Oh, it's coming out again. With all of the new antique coins collected, the final run of the main game is officially wrapped, and we can move on to the DLC. There is a lot of DLC for this game, each of which brings something fully unique to the table. Out of every game so far, this one's the most interesting, and I enjoyed almost every single experience. There are a few key and glaring exceptions, but I'll save that for when we get there. For now though, let's jump right into the first DLC. For our first challenge, surprise, it's actually 4 different DLCs. Banned footage tells the story of Clancy leading up to his final moments in the Happy Birthday tape. In the first game mode, we have to play a mix between Five Nights at Freddy's and Call of Duty Zombies. We have to survive from midnight to 5 AM while starting with nothing. We obtain scrap by turning on compactors, which generate a set amount per second. There are a total of 4 compactors, but only 2 are available at the start. This mode is all about cumulative progression, as each run brings up your total score, which unlocks new rewards for future runs. Simply put, we just have to do good enough times and eventually we'll be OP. Every hour brings new enemies, and you get multipliers based on how many you kill, so avoiding them doesn't help your case. This is the mode back in the day that taught me how to knife the molded, because for most of these first runs, the knife is all you can afford. Now, most of you don't know this about me, but I absolutely love idle games. Finding out how to optimize numbers going up is my jam, and this game perfectly scratches that itch for me. The core tenement of every idle game is that you always increase your income before you buy upgrades, since as long as you make more money, you can always spend more money. That means I'm prioritizing getting the other compactors online as soon as possible, even if it means neglecting my survival in the process. I do well enough on my second run to unlock my first bonuses, which give me 250 starting scrap and the PP19 in the shop. The start of every run has me pulling the most Formula 1 line I can to get the 2 compactors online ASAP. Then by the time I'm back, I can collect 100 from the first one and hit the store. I'll pause the store here to show you what we're working with so far. Corrosives open doors to other compactors, so saving up for them is the big goal. Most of the weapons are fairly cheap, but they operate on the same logic printers do. Ammo gets progressively more and more expensive based on the amount you buy, so saving it for only the necessary situations is key. There's a second menu at the top called Skills, but I'll discuss that once the me in-game remembers it's a thing. The first hour's not bad, primarily having the default guys wandering around. As long as I play decently smart with my knife, this part's not too bad. I'm able to get the third compactor online within the first hour, effectively increasing my total earnings by 50%, and I use the shotgun only in real emergencies. At the end of every hour, the heavy hitters spawn, and the compactors stop until you kill them all to prevent you from just looping enemies and getting mega rich. I finally realized skills are a thing, so I can show you what they are now. Compactor upgrades do what they say on the box, usually increasing outputs in 50% increments. The rest are pretty self-explanatory, but the important one to note is the melee upgrade. Since I'm knifing almost entirely, getting that fairly early is super helpful. The max health plus heal upgrade combination is also very nice, as it takes longer to drop into the red, and when you do a single heal it brings you back up to full. The first hour's mega baddies are just a crawler gang, which the shotgun handles pretty easily. Hour 2 features the first appearance of the Crescent Moon guys, the ones with the big claw. They're the upgraded version of regular guys, and have a slightly different moveset that I'm not as good at dodging, so shooting them is usually the move. The ultra bad of Hour 2 is Jack V1, who packs a punch but is not too bad. Once I down him, I make enough to open up the fourth and final compactor, meaning we are fully online in terms of profit, and now it's just upgrades. Hour 3 is most of the same, maxing out our compactors and dealing with the ultra bad, which is Crescent Moons and a Jumbotron. This mode definitely makes you wish there was a bit more enemy variety, as there's really only 4 zombie types they can throw at you. Hour 4 is the final stretch, and they bring out everyone but the big guys. But I die here, earning me nerve gas traps on the map, 3 starting first aids, and the burner. I'm not going to make you sit through all that again, but I did everything the same as I did last time, focusing on upgrading compactors and melee damage. I decide to be a little less frugal and buy a suite of weapons just to have on hand in case of emergencies. This run goes a lot better though, and I max out pretty much everything across the board and start to use turrets across the map to clear out enemies for me. The ultra bad of Hour 4, which is also the final boss, is Chainsaw Jack. He's got a little more beef on him than I was expecting, but nothing a few bullets can't fix. On the next run, put him down for good, and the first of 8 DLCs is not done. You didn't think it was over, did you? We now have to do all that again, with harder enemies and half the scrap gain. You might think to yourself, that's crazy. How could you possibly do that? And the answer is quite simple, and one you're already very familiar with. We juiced up our score enough in those first runs to add the circular saw to the shop. If we survive long enough to purchase it, this entire challenge becomes a joke. Having officially survived his first round of torment, Clancy now gets to move on to the second layer of hell, the bedroom. The basement was all about action, and the bedroom is all about puzzles. Marguerite's got us locked up in the snake key bedroom, and we have to bust out escape room style. This one is basically a lot of trial and error, as you can only interact with a limited number of things in each section, so figuring out what to do isn't super hard. At certain points, something will happen in the room that causes Marguerite to come running, and you have to reset the room to exactly the way it was when she left and put yourself back in lockdown before she gets there. If you don't, she pukes up some bees at you, which, again, gross. I won't go into too much depth with this one, as it's literally just an escape room, but there are 3 dead mice around the room that you have to find for an achievement. Also, at the very end of the escape room, right as you're about to win, you have to have a knife equipped in your hand, or else you fail and have to redo the entire thing, and I think that's pretty dumb. We successfully escaped Marguerite's grasp, but that was a gentle spring breeze compared to what's coming our way next. Well, we've beaten Jack, stumped Marguerite, but the true mastermind of the Baker family shows himself before us now. Lucas has set up a game for us, but I'll let him explain it.
You like cards? Of course you do. Well, I've made up a game especially for you two. Except we don't bet with chips around here. If you catch my drift.
We now have to play blackjack with our fingers on the line. Our opponent is Hoffman, a guy trying to get back to his family. My first card pull pretty much sums up this entire DLC.
Hit me.
The winner is Hoffman! The loser pays the bet.
What? Wait! You psycho fuck! You really did it!
Hell of a game, right?
We share a deck with Hoffman, so this entire game is trying to figure out what card he has flipped over, with Lucas raising the bet every round. I pull blackjack twice in a row, so I get to walk away with only a pinky missing, and this DLC comes to a... It's never that easy. The rules start to get even more complicated in round 2 as Lucas introduces trump cards, which are just cheats that both you and the AI have access to. We played a 10 now, and it all comes down to using the right cheats at the right moment. In the third round of this upgraded game, the state of the board is Hoffman showing 19 and me with 13. If he has a 1, I'm pretty much boned. However, if he has anything other than a 1, he busts and I win the hand. I decide to risk it all based on statistics, a class I barely passed in college, and raised Hoffman's bet all the way up to max. Luckily, fortune favors the bold, and Hoffman dies for real now, but I've pulled the trick on you enough that you should know what's coming.
Hoffman, and I'll feel fine. I think we should play another round.
The third round has a saw between us that we have to push towards the other player. After round 1, I draw a cheat card called Love Your Enemy, which gives them the best card in the deck. I'm good, thanks. Lucas is now playing for Hoffman, and I do whatever I can to survive. Eventually, when the saw's within striking distance of Hoffman and the win's on the table, Lucas plays a perfect draw cheat to get up to 21, then raises the bet to 100 and doesn't let me draw any more cards. So I use that very obvious story-based cheat the game gave me earlier, and we clear the first of 3 versions of this game. Yeah. We have to play blackjack 3 different times, each time getting harder and harder, all of which counts as 1 DLC. I'm gonna fast forward now that you get the gist. The second round is called Survival and has us facing up against 5 increasingly difficult opponents, with only our fingers as collateral. That means we can lose a max of 5 times before we have to restart from the beginning. Just like in Nightmare, you gain advantages by accomplishing things, but they're significantly harder to earn in this mode. I get through the entirety of Survival on the first attempt, saving almost all my cheats to use on the final version of Hoffman, whose body has become super infected. I basically just cheat my way to making him overdraw and then raise his bet until he runs out of options and dies on the first hand. I unlock a couple new cheats, like raising the max to 24 and gaining an additional cheat at the start, and head into the final version of Blackjack, and this one is insane. Survival Plus, the third and final version, gives you 10 HP and makes you beat 10 opponents back to back, no checkpoints. If you make it to the 10th enemy and die, back to the beginning you go. I can't show you most of my attempts because the total footage is over 6 hours long. My final playtime in the first main game run was 6 hours 42 minutes, meaning it takes me almost the same amount of time to beat 1 game of blackjack as it does to beat the main game. This achievement is legitimately the hardest one in this game, due to the sheer force of will and mental power you need to overcome sitting here for hours counting cards and managing your inventory. Just so I don't leave you hanging too much, my strategy for this one was to idle on the first opponent because he kinda sucks, and once he gets low, he uses shields to lower his bet to 0, meaning you can just farm up a full deck of cheats before heading on. However, once you get past him, every enemy has a gimmick that makes them tough to beat. Sometimes they raise your bet, sometimes they have unlimited shield cards, sometimes they have perfect draws. Whatever it is, you have to have the correct cheat to counteract whatever they're doing. A unique thing that happened to me on this run that didn't happen when I perfected it on my own time is the arrival of this guy. I don't know what the lore of this dude is, but his whole gimmick is that he has a cheat card that lets him book it from the table. If you let that happen, you lose and start back at the beginning. When he throws it down, you either have to destroy it using a cheat or beat him in 1 round. He forced me to burn every destroy cheat I had in my deck, which is a real problem because the final boss has a card which is basically you lose now. That means that I sat on the final boss for about 25 minutes Doctor Stranging it trying to figure out if there's anything I could do to not instantly lose. I won't pretend like I can even remember the amount of math I was doing, but the board state is that I have a 7 drawn and he has 19 showing, and I eventually settle on raising his bet and knocking off his most recent card, then perfect drawing myself up twice to get to blackjack. The risky thing about this is if he plays a card that wipes out all of my cheats, I'm pretty much fucked. For some reason, I can only chalk up to the universe giving me a break. The final boss of the entire run spam draws until he goes over, and then stays without playing any more cheats. You can see my head knock my mouse aside in relief as I slammed my head onto the table. With blackjack officially behind us, we can wrap up banned footage, which doesn't end with Clancy surprisingly. He's fulfilled his purpose and is off to die now, I guess. The last DLC is a pretty quick one, set in Zoe's point of view, showing the moments before the Baker family was infected. There are 2 endings to this, and it's slightly more complicated than just making a choice, but let's do the traditional way first to cover that. This also furthers the sympathy for the family, showing they were pretty caring people as Jack finds Evelyn after the boat crashes, and you bring her new clothes. Unfortunately, she's a psycho and hijacks everything pretty much immediately. Marguerite's the first to go, with Jack fighting her off to save you, but by the time you get back with Rope, he's gone too. Minor nitpick here, but in the 3 seconds since you brought Rope up, the stairs become covered with furniture, causing me to die. How was I supposed to know there's a furniture ghost? We break out and circle around, sneaking past Marguerite in the living room and heading out the door, where she snaps out of it long enough to give us the car keys. We now have to get the garage open, which means avoiding Jack for long enough that the door can open infinitely slower than it does in the actual game. For getting it done, we get the bad ending, and the game tells us that isn't canon and we should find Mia. The way to do that, which is slightly more interesting as I said, is watching Lucas enter his password over his shoulder, then grabbing a lockpick beneath the house and getting the button to open up the attic. Entering his password reveals that Lucas was pretty messed up even before the mold got into his brain, and we enter his password to learn more of his stuff is outside on the balcony. Do everything the same way until we climb outside, this time grabbing a dog head from Lucas's stuff and heading out to the trailer where Mia's sleeping. We find the head for the serum and a note left by Mia to avoid Evelyn. But it's too late. This wraps up banned footage, which means we're halfway through the DLC now, and what's even better is that the next one kinda sucks, so I'm mostly gonna skip it. Next up to bat, Red Chris Fields headed out to find Lucas, but he's too lazy to control his own body, so he makes us do it for him. There are only 2 achievements here, one for beating it on normal and the other on professional. The main aspect of this that you need to know, mainly so I can reference it in the future, is that Lucas is working with some shadow organization called the Connections. Are the Connections the same people Mia worked for? Is it Neo Umbrella? I don't know. Chris is contracted through the BSAA for Blue Umbrella, which is a rehabbed version of the old Umbrella, which is crazy given that the plot of 6 is that Neo Umbrella is the evil guys. I don't understand how the Umbrella brand isn't just fully tarnished enough that no one wants to take it. Pretty much nothing else interesting happens in this DLC. You can do a big punch because you're Chris Redfield, and there's a new zombie type which requires a special bullet to take down, or else they're indestructible, pretty much just like Paleheads. Shoot nonstop for an hour, eventually reaching Lucas and fighting his mutant form, putting him down for good and wrapping up the DLC. Do it again on professional, and we can move on. The next one is another one that on the surface is pretty cool, but slightly overstays its welcome. End of Zoe has you stepping into the shoes of Joe, the brother of Jack that's never mentioned and lives in the middle of nowhere in the swamp. He has no idea what's going on, but he finds Zoe doing her best Emma Frost impression, and decides he's gonna be the one to fix it. These soldiers were just about to save her, so all we've done is delay that, and what we learn soon after is that there's a new bombshell entering the villa. No! Joe's basically Bayou Vin Diesel, where he just says family a bunch and does a lot of punches. He also eats bugs to heal, so, you know, to each their own, I guess. This is primarily a story-based DLC, with Joe using fisticuffs to turn all the molded types we've seen so far into mush, with the addition of one new type that's just the supreme version of the Crescent Moon ones. Stealth kill 5 molded for a miscellaneous achievement, and face off against Swamp Thing in a 1v1 cage match. Joe earns his #1 Uncle Coffee mug by wading through croc-infested waters and navigating a rusty old ship, taking out one of those supreme zombies I mentioned, all just to get the cure for Zoe. He utilizes the Carlos method of technical support, and takes on Swamp Thing again, losing Zoe and wading through more crocs and more baddies. This DLC is mostly just a combat gauntlet, running from point A to point B without dying. defeat some Gigantos, finding Zoe in a church guarded by Oscar the Grouch, and rip the guy's face off to reveal.
Jack? What the fuck?
Despite everything that's happened so far, Jack is somehow still alive, and we have to be the ones to actually put him down for the 42nd time. We get a sweet-ass gauntlet,
ready for use,
which allows us to do this, and head in to take on Jack, brother versus brother.
You're just a rabid dog now. I'm gonna put you out of your misery. Bring it on!
charging. Charge complete. Charging. Charge complete.
You remember me, right? You remember the time I broke your nose when we were kids? You remember when I clotheslined you into the swamp?
Charging. Charge complete. Charging. Charge complete.
This is farewell from the family, brother.
With him down, Zoe's rescued by Chris and talks to Ethan, then gets sorted into the pile of characters we'll probably never see again. Run it through one more time, completing all the extreme challenges, which just has you run through everything as fast as you can. They're not that hard. For doing that, we unlock the Spirit Blade, which lets us heal when we hit an enemy with it, and we can head into one of the harder challenges of this game. Joe Must Die is everything we just did, but Kaizo mode. Everywhere you think you're safe has a trip mine, or an enemy spawn, or something that takes you out when you're least expecting it. You also only have manual saves again, meaning dying loses any unsaved progress. I'll be honest, this one was pretty tough to get through mentally. There's pretty much one set way to do things, and if you deviate at all, you instantly die. After hours and hours of practice, running through section after section after section, I finally get it done. For beating Joe Must Die, you get two-handed gauntlets, so do another run on normal with only those gauntlets to get the final achievement for this DLC. We're on to the second to last one now, and this one's one of my favorites, just for its uniqueness and the total tonal shift this does. Jack's a hungry boy, and it's up to us to get him filled up. The catch is we're on a timer, and the primary achievement of this mode is earning all S ranks. That usually means beating every single level in a minute or less. You earn upgrades for getting good scores that make future runs easier, and killing Molded pauses the timer for a set amount of time. There are also upgrades on the map, like insta-kill guns that boost the timer, and floating Mr. Everywheres that double your time bonus. If that wasn't enough, you can also combine food to make higher scoring options to feed to Jack, so balancing killing, combining, upgrades, and power-ups are all required to get the S rank. The main upgrades I prioritized were increasing time bonuses while attacking, and for the first runs I used the upgrade that lets me see where items are. Certain enemies on the map are required to be killed to unlock other areas, with later levels having like 6 different locks. Eventually you earn a golden crowbar, which pretty much insta-kills enemies, and at that point it gets way easier. There isn't much more to this one apart from that, but it was a nice change of pace from everything we've been doing up to now. For feeding Jack every type of ingredient, including all combinations, we earn another achievement, and I head into the main house, running from mini-boss to mini-boss as fast as I can to build up a time bonus, then hit the first Mr. Everywhere in the basement to double it, then dead sprint for the second Mr. Everywhere to double it again, boosting my total time bonus over 10 minutes for the final achievement of this DLC. With that, we come to the last challenge in RE7. They decide just for funsies to throw a roguelike in the mix, except you don't earn any upgrades when you die. This final mode is all about punishment. Everything we know, everything we've been training for this entire time, all gets put to the test now. We have to guide Ethan through a labyrinth of traps, enemies, and bosses, all with a random amount of gear that changes every single run. This is the only thing standing between us and 100%. Let's get it done. With the main story beaten, all collectibles acquired, and DLCs completed, Resident Evil 7 has been 100%ed. Thank you all for watching. I really enjoyed playing through this one, so I hope you enjoyed watching it. It's a really nice change of pace from the action of the last few, and I'm a sucker for anything that's actually scary. I also really appreciate when DLC decides to do a lot of different stuff instead of just having one 2 to 4 hour story DLC and that's it. This one's up there with the first Resident Evil for me, but here's hoping RE9 blows it out of the water. Shout out to my patrons, Dixby, Jude, Alex, Matt, Baralt, Muriel, Raven, and Baneful Biscuit, as well as all my other patrons. You guys make these videos possible. Thank you. Now, the only thing standing between us and the finish line is a really big lady. And some other guys. I'll see you in the next one.